My name is Liam Gomez. I'm from Highway Church of Christ. Fear is something that everyone experiences sometime in their life. Fear of the dark, fear of drowning, fear of unpopularity, fear of bunnies. Basically, everyone has a fear of something. But have you ever heard of glossophobia? Guessing that you've never heard of it unless you're one of those internet nerds that tries to find out all the phobias. Well, glossophobia is the fear of taking courage and saying a speech, kind of like I'm doing right now. Well, some of you don't want to admit it, but most of you have this fear. In fact, 75% of the world population has this fear. But in Philippians 1, Paul is writing a letter to the Philippians saying not to fear preaching the gospel. In Philippians 1, 12 through 14, he says, "And I want you to know, my dear brothers and sisters, that everything that has happened to me here has helped to spread the good news. Has helped me to spread the good news. For everyone here, including the whole palace guard, knows that I am in chains because of Christ. And because of my imprisonment, most of the believers here have gained confidence and boldly speak God's message without fear." In this passage, Paul is in prison, and while he's in prison, he still has no fear of preaching. This reminds me of a little game called water polo. Some of you may or may not have heard of it. It's basically soccer in a pool, along with a few injuries. Of course, there's injuries from dunking, chunking the ball into someone's face, and trying to climb on top of someone to grab the ball. When a ball is passed to a teammate, then one of the teams erupts in cheer when they score. But this is actually a great example of the fear of preaching. Sometimes you don't want to get in the pool because you're scared you're going to get dunked, or a ball is going to be flying straight towards your face. What that means in preaching is sometimes you're scared to get up to the pulpit because you're nervous or you're scared you're going to be embarrassed. Some people don't want anything to do with Jesus, and some Christians just don't want to preach. Well, most of the time, people just believe whatever their friends believe in. If all of your friends are non-Christians, then you probably don't want to be a Christian. So, if all of your friends don't want to play water polo, why would you want to? But if the people around you are Christians, and they tell you more about if they tell you more than you already know about Jesus, that creates a bigger desire to preach to people about him. So what that means is if you're in the water and your teammates encourage you, then you become determined to score. Encouragement gives you your strength. Now, what does that mean? It means that if you have encouraging Christians all around you, then that can help to preach to people about him. Well, most of the time, when you're playing water polo and you have that ball, you just don't know what to do. It's until you see the people around you that you know that you're not alone in this spiritual race. And your friends or teammates can help you to overcome your fears. You can ask your relatives and friends for help when you don't know what to do. And when you pass that ball, it'll be less difficult to score that goal. So, when you look to the people around you to preach the gospel, eventually, that fear of preaching, it'll just fade away. Philippians 1, 15 through 18, it says, "It's true that some are preaching out of jealousy and rivalry, but others preach out about Christ with pure motives. They preach because they love me, for they know I've been appointed to defend the good news. Those others do not have pure motives, as they preach about Christ. They preach with selfish ambition, not sincerely, intending to make my chains more painful to me. But that doesn't matter. Whether their motives are false or genuine, the message about Christ is being preached either way, so I rejoice, and I will continue to rejoice." What some of you might be thinking right now about preaching is, well, I'm busy all the time. I have a speech disorder. Well, I'm kind of tired today. Maybe another day. A great demonstration is a story from the Bible. Have you ever heard of Moses? You're probably thinking right now, Of course I know who Moses is, you ding-dong. He was one of God's greatest prophets. But do you remember Moses pleading with God that he didn't want to become a prophet? In Exodus 4:10-12, it says, "But Moses pleaded with the Lord, 'O Lord, I'm not very good with words. I never have been, I'm not now. Even though you have spoken to me, I get tongue-tied. My words get tangled.'" Right here in the Bible, Moses, one of God's greatest prophets, says that he doesn't want to be a prophet. Well, you know how God responds to this? He asks, who makes a person's mouth? Who decides whether people speak or do not speak, hear or do not hear, see or do not see? Is it not I, the Lord? Now go, I will be with you as you speak, and I will instruct you what to say. So now we know that according to Paul, if you are scared to preach, just think that God has done so many things for you, and you are being but humble servants preaching for him. That is why Paul wrote the letter to the Philippians. He wrote it to encourage the Philippians to preach the gospel throughout the world. Just know that God will put the words into your mouth, even if you claim you are terrible at preaching. And sometimes in life, we need to take courage, step on that stage, have no fear, preach the word with glad, joyful hearts, and believe it. Now, I'm not saying that everyone has to become a preacher. I'm just saying that when you go back to your schools, proclaim Jesus. When you say hi to your neighbors when you go back home, proclaim Jesus. Everywhere you go, proclaim Jesus in your lives.